Today we're going to be talking about what we think Series 11 is going to be. There's no rules that have been announced yet. This is not a rules announcement video, but I asked in one of my YouTube videos that was actually going up today, the Ho-Oh video, what do you guys think Series 11 is going to be? And I got a ton of really cool answers, so I wanted to talk about those. And then I had a super big brain idea when I was going to get my coffee this morning, and I was like, man, if TPCi brings back Dynamax and Series 11, right? And that's starting November 1st. Series 11 will start November 1st, even though I don't know what it is. If they bring back Dynamax for that format, and it's the same month that a new game comes out that isn't going to be the main series game, what's going to happen, right, is everyone's going to, they might play like a week or two of it just to get to Master Ball. That'll probably happen. I'll probably do that. But then once the Diamond and Pearl remakes come out, everyone's going to play that, right? And, we already talked about how there's not going to be VGC staying on Sword and Shield. It's not going over to the new remakes. But a lot of people are going to play the new remakes because they're excited for them. Hell, a lot of people, myself included, are going to go into competitive play for that game because I think it's going to be a lot of fun. But what's going to happen is there's no events really bringing people back to Sword and Shield for VGC, probably not until January. So a lot of people are going to go play the Diamond and Pearl remakes, and then from there, they're not going to go back to VGC. They're just going to go to another game. They're going to go play Pokemon Unite. They're going to go play League of Legends. They're going to go play some other game that they have wanted to play for a long time. That's just kind of how people work on the internet. There's no reason to play VGC, especially in a format where there's Dynamax involved. So I was just thinking, I was like, VGC is going to go through the freaking dark ages if they bring back Dynamax this format. Now, there is ways that I think TPCi could handle it to where if they brought back Dynamax, it wouldn't completely ruin everything. But, it would have to be a really, really weird format. Correct me if I'm wrong. Do you guys agree with this? If you guys agree, let me know. I was just thinking, I was like, no way TPCi is this dumb. No way they're this dumb. They already did this thing when they went Series 7, and then they went to Series 8, and then they went Series 9 was back to Series 7, and everyone hated that. Everyone hated that. They should know that they cannot go back to an older format. This would be the second time that they've done this, and in this situation, they could have just let us have Series 8 for a month longer, or Series whatever 9, or I don't even know what the series is anymore. I'm not feeling the Dynamax. If they bring Dynamax back, I don't know if I'm strong enough. The Incredibles meme, the I can't do it again. I'm not strong enough. I don't really want to play Dynamax anymore. If it was Series 8, now I don't really know what I want to do with the game. You're expecting them to go back to Series 8. I'm not feeling that, The only thing I liked about Dynamax was weakness policy strats were more of a thing, and I like Colossal. The thing is, that's fine. I'm not saying if you like Dynamax, you're terrible. I'm not saying that. You can totally like what you like. I'm saying for myself, it's just not it. That meme is just bro, I'm just straight up not having a good time. That's Dynamax, right? I personally think with the amount of time that it takes me to make my content, that I could earn more money doing more things and just have a better use of my time doing something completely different than making any format for VGC for the foreseeable future if that were to happen. I'm a busy guy. I got a lot of things to do, and that all centers around making content. And I'm not going to make content around something that makes me miserable for 4 months. That's just not what I'm going to do. And I can't be the only content creator that thinks that. If my prophecy were to be fulfilled here, if you guys think about 2019 and even 2018, 2016, what kind of happened was a lot of the content creators stopped making content. I didn't stop making content because I'm the best, I'm just the best around. But I stopped making VGC content for a long time, and I just made singles content. And what do you say, adding more mons and Gmax forms, that would never happen. But Zhang took a long break to where he wouldn't upload for a long time. He was busy doing school and work, I think. And Wolf didn't upload. Moxie Boosted's channel has always been, how do I put it? It's a great channel, but it's always been, he would take big breaks, in between. He's a student and stuff like that too. He has to work as well. So in formats where, basically the YouTube, infrastructure is set up to where there's a lot of good channels uploading content. I'm sure I'm not the only person you guys watch, but it hasn't always been that way. And basically, without like content creators giving people like a reason to play and cool stuff to see, if that dries up, the drive for a lot of the casual people or the people that just want to use cool teams that they see content creators use, the things that like drive ideas for people to play the game, if that dries up, those people don't play, they go play other games, and then the community dries up, and then we get stuck in situations where you're stuck like for 10 minutes trying to find one battle on ranked, which like does happen in these formats. And all this could be stopped if TPCi just didn't bring back Dynamax. But that's my opinion. I generally would hate for that to happen, but sometimes it do be like that. Obviously, Showdown's going to be fine. That's where a lot of the people are still going to play. The hardcore player base is going to play on Showdown. But the in-game is just going to be... It's going to be nothing. It's going to be a ghost town. But let me know what you guys think. It's time for you guys to react, you know? It's time for you guys to have some ideas. Then we'll talk about different things we think the format might be instead of this that would be really cool. But I'm doing fine. I'm drinking some coffee. Would there be a way to restrict Dynamax to specific mons? I think that's mega evolution, you know? But yeah, I think that something like that could be cool. I think it's a good idea. I think if they were to make it so you could only use Gmaxes, I think that would be cool. Because it would stop those cheese strats where, you know, remember back when we saw people go like Teraki on Pult, and they're like, cool, it's going to use beat up Pult on the Teraki, and Teraki's going to Dynamax. And then they would like Dynamax the Pult and cheese you. I think only Gmaxes. I actually think that could be cool. I wouldn't hate that. I would play that. Because that would treat it more like a Mega Evolution-esque format. That's a very good idea. Yeah, I would actually be down for that. Because it'd be kind of like these restricted formats that we have right now, where you're building around one specific mon. And it'd stop the cheese that Dynamax brings to the table. It would make it so you have to like Gmax that thing, but I would run teams that have like 2 or 3 Gmaxes and only like max 1. So like if I were to run like a Sunroom team, you know, I could max my hat or I could max my Venusaur. I would like that. I wouldn't mind using Lapras. I think Lapras is a cool mon. I already know once BDSP comes out, I'm moving to move competitions, especially if Dynamax comes back. Okay. You say you think Sword and Shield is nearly dead, like VGC will go on, but will have fallen off. Yeah, the thing is, like, Sword and Shield, that's the thing is about Dynamax. Like, if everyone's saying, like, that's just make content for it, it doesn't matter. It's almost over. It's like, I really think that, like, bringing Dynamax back and not changing anything, we're going to do an exact copy of its Series 8 rules. It's like beating a dead horse. Like, there's nothing for a player of my level, or a player as good as you guys, to learn from, like, rehashing a Dynamax format, especially if we're going to be going to a new gen or any weird new rule set. Like, remember how much better the player base got when they took away Dynamax? You start to see like Encore Tech, the rise back of fake out users and correct pinning. Like, everyone felt it was better. And so people were able to level up and be better players because of it, just better Pokemon players in general. There's no reason to go backwards and make them rehash like old mechanics that they won't be able to carry over those skills into newer games, because Dynamax formats are just bad. Ban the top 5 most used restricted and the top 15 most used normal rounds. And rest days like Series 10. That'd be really hard, because when they did that in Series 6, they made an arbitrary list of banned mons that like affected both singles and doubles. So like things like Hippowdon got hit even though it's used in singles, not in doubles, and Gyarados got hit even though it's used in singles and was kind of okay in doubles, and it's kind of weird. Ban Aleki Urshi, I agree, that'd be cool. Are we due for the next generation to move to VGC in fall 22, or will it be Sword and Shield until fall 2023? I would say that we're probably... I wouldn't be surprised if by 2023... So basically what's going to happen is Diamond Four is going to come out in November. Arceus is going to come out in January. We're probably going to get announcement of a new game in the series. Not a new gen, but probably a new game in the series, probably around E3 time June. It'd be cool if we saw that game by, fall of 2022. That's kind of my speculation. It's usually about 3 years in between games, so like I think that's definitely normal. Would they ever allow Mythicals? Yo, like, you see my Jirachi. Like, I'm wishing that they'd add Mythicals. They did the Mythical tournament thing where you were able to use a Mythical instead of, like, your restricted, and that was fun. You say weekly top 10 restrictions based on most popular could be beneficial in Dynamax format? That would never happen. TPCi does not have that level of quality control. What if they made a new pick and ban mode? I wish, right? That wouldn't really work. So it's like, you got to think about this. This is not League of Legends. There is no menu option select for that to happen, right? This isn't a game on Steam. It can't just be patched like that easily. So like, it would be cool if they made a pick and ban mode, never happening ever in any situation. But it would be cool. I agree. But yeah, I would like Mythicals. I'd be down for some of that. I actually, so like, let's talk about the things that I'd be down with. I would be down with, I'd play a month, because we only have it for a month, right? Until the Diamond Pro remakes come out. I'd be down with the only Gmax option. That would be cool. Not gonna lie, I think that would be fun. And I think that I'd be down if they kept it with the same rule set that we have now. I'd be down. I think as stale as our format is, it's a figured out format. And you know what? Figured out formats just end up being okay. You know, this will be remembered as a kind of pretty okay format, I think. Having no Dynamax is really nice. And there won't be any real ways to like advance the meta, I don't think. I think the meta is pretty figured out with like Zashi and Ogre, you know, Zern Shadow Rider. It's pretty figured out. And the reason why the meta hasn't really advanced in the past like 2 months, the reason why the meta is kind of like stagnated, is because there's no tournaments. There's no Players Cup. There's no regionals. The really, really good players are playing other games. Case in point, you know, your favorite streamers, they're playing a lot of Unite. And that's totally fine. There's no reason for anyone to try to change the game, reinvent the wheel if there's no reward for it. Series 11 would be interesting if they kept one restricted and banned the common top used Pokemon in Series 6, making people build more creative teams to support the restricted. So I think that would be cool as well, but I don't think it would be the shining redemption hope arc that you think it might be. We did that in Series 6, and that's fine, but it's different in a restricted format. Because if you were to ban the top 5 most used restricteds, other restricteds would just rise up, and it would be roughly the same thing. Restricteds are good, and the restricteds are better than things in general. So if you ban the top 5 most restricted and the top like 10 other things, we would replace Regielekis with Tapu Kokos. We replace Urshifus with Terrakions. You know what I mean? There's enough Pokemon in the decks that all the, we replace Incineroars with Scrafties. We replace Rillabooms with probably like Hitmontops, stuff like that. So there's enough things that would come back up to make it's still about the same. We'd replace Zacians with Zentas. We'd replace Xerneas with Xerneas. We'd replace Kyogres and Groudons with probably like Palkias and Dialgas or Lunalas or something. Can't really ban certain moves either. When Shining Pearl comes out, the ranked will be that game or will still be played in Sword and Shield. So like Sword and Shield is where VGC is going to stay. If you want to be a VGC player, you have to stay on Sword and Shield. Diamond and Pro remakes will have their own like singles, and they might have doubles, but it's going to be just a casual order, just like how Let's Go was. Copy ban Geomancy. I think they should. I think, you know how they could fix it? Make it so Power Herb only works on damaging moves. Problem solved. Power Herb still works on Sky Attack, Solar Beam, all those cool things. It just doesn't work with Geomancy. I'm happy that VGC is staying on Sword and Shield. I feel like playing it for 2 years is long enough. I mean, that's how every game is though, right? So like, we were in Black and White games for like 2 or 3 years. We were on X and Y for about 3 years. We were on Sun and Moon for 3 years, right? And the thing is, those were formats that each lasted a whole year. Imagine if it was Series 8 for a whole year. Series 9 for a whole year. A fucking year, right? Yeah. Now, Gen 6 was till 2016. There's only 3 years. 2017 was the start of Gen 7 with Sun and Moon. I just have an inkling feeling in the back of my mind that, like, Sword and Shield is on the back burner. And, we as a community, VGC will carry on. But I really feel that, like, for people who only want to be VGC players, it's going to go into struggle territory. I just want to say, like, so with the history of VGC, let me just read this for a sec. If we don't get a new main series game by fall 2022, we're gonna need a third DLC with the rest of the decks and new Legends Arceus months allowed. But like, what makes you think that they're gonna do that, right? Because, like, they already have our money, you know? I guess they could make more DLC, but, like, the thing is, it's like, they already have our money. We bought the games. We bought the DLC that we have. And if they're not making, like, how do I put this? Even if they were to make a new DLC, people are already going to be playing other games at that point. But it must be hard as a content creator as well to find new ideas. It is hard. It's hard. I would like to use my Gearnin with its ability, given its potential to steamroll with teams. I mean, there was a tournament for it in the Mythical, like the Mythical whatever tournament that happened. That was fun. That was probably like the best mon. But how do I word this? Like, you know, we have a lot of good content creators right now. We have Wolf is making more Nuzlocke content, but we have Zhang, great. I wish James would come back, make some content. We got Moxie boosted. I love all the growth his channel's had, you know, in this past year. I think Osiris is still doing pretty good content. I still make content. You know, you have the small content creators like Jeans. You got Master Mark streaming. So we got a lot of Twitch streamers. So we got like Master Mark, we got Battle Room, we have Eeks. So there's right now a healthy amount of like content creators, right? I mean, those guys aren't really content creators right now. Like, Ray's starting to stream again, but I wouldn't call them like full. I'm talking about people that are doing this like full-time content creators. Like the people that I just listed, like this is their job, you know? But I wouldn't be surprised if like VGC were to get like no updates. I don't know, like I wouldn't be surprised if VGC were to get like no updates and then bringing back Dynamax and then just kind of ignoring us for like 4 or 5 months until there's, you know, maybe events again. I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of those content creators started playing other games. And like I've said it before, when the content creators dry up, the viewer base dries up, there's no real people playing, there's no reason to play. And then the people, like everyone's saying like, we need DLC. Well, they're not going to make the DLC if they just see the numbers shrinking, right? If they see a mass exodus of people leaving the game, they're not going to have a serious rush to get out any DLC or even do like anything. They're just going to wait, you know? I'm talking they as in like TPCi, not even TPCi, the people that like make the games, make the DLC, like the Pokemon company and stuff like that or whatever. Game Freak, there we go. That's what I'm afraid of, because that's what happened. And that's what happens the last like 4 months of every format. The only saving grace that we have is, you know, like I said, formats used to be a year long, and then you would play that format like well into the next season, but it was the regionals and the community that kept people alive. Like, they kept the game alive. Like, in November, when you were already on your like 13th or 14th month of playing a specific format, you were still going to regionals because your friends were there. And without that level of community, I just don't see a lot of like the people sticking around. That's just my opinion. Like, I feel that, like, yeah, Jin's another one. Jin, Eeks, Battle Room, those are all people on Twitch that can definitely make the same level of living streaming other games. They have amazing personalities. So, you want to have this conversation in person? Like, am I like talking too fast? But yeah, like, all these people can make the same level of living, probably even a better level of living, by doing something that's not VGC. I think that's like one thing that I really want to drive through. Same thing like Aaron, like Zhang, he could do other things than VGC that will be more worth his time. He has a freaking like crazy good degree too, I think. So it's like, I think that's another thing. A lot of people feel that like content creators have to play their specific game. Not really, you know. They don't have to. You have to remember, Jin didn't start with VGC. He was a Monster Hunter guy. Yep. That's what I mean. Eeks playing VGC and Unite on the same stream. He does like Genshin and stuff like that. Like, for me, if you actually take a look at what my channel started out, I was a StarCraft channel, you know? So it's like, all these people could play other games. Of course, I will always stay with Pokemon. But, you know, when I actually started making Pokemon content in like 2013, I was a singles creator for like 4 years. And I like singles more than VGC. Hell, the team we have to play today is a 6v6 singles team, you know? So it's like, yeah, do you think we will be able to move new mons in a Sword and Shield? I don't know. Like, what new mons? So, yeah, I think VGC is cool. It brought a lot of people together. And I don't think it's really going anywhere. But I just don't see a reason to play VGC until they bring back regionals. And that just might be me. Because the only reason I played VGC in the first place was regionals. Like, when I was a singles player, and I first heard about VGC, I was at a singles tournament, and I ran into like Alex Agloza. Alex Agloza, that's the perfect example. Like, that guy did everything you could ever do in VGC. He won U.S. Nationals. He top cut Worlds. He goes to Worlds like every year. He really tries. And he had a full saturated like YouTube channel, Twitch, all sorted around VGC, and he's just like, nope. He just like stopped using them. Went and did his own thing, and he decided to get like master at that crazy Witcher card game, and he's super good. I think he got good at Hearthstone too. Like, Alex Agloza is like a gem, and he's been streaming New World. I think he might even be streaming right now. I'm gonna actually check if Agloza is streaming right now. I just want to see. He streamed VGC the other day too. That was fun when he was like waiting in the queue. He's not streaming right now, but he was streaming yesterday. But yeah, it's a perfect example. Like, these content creators that like are built around VGC, that a lot of people like to watch VGC, they don't need to stay here. They added more rewards for high rank Master Ball. That could be a temporary solution. Like, rank 1, get 10 ability patches. So I'm not gonna lie, anyone who's ever hit rank 1 doesn't like make their mons legit. That's just gonna. I'm sorry to burst your idea, but they all gen their stuff. Maybe Stantler Evolution or Stantler, those things. I have no idea if they'll bring those over to this game. Singles is more fun without Dynamax. I still like Dynamax and VGC. I'm not a fan of Dynamax. I think the opposite. I think singles with Dynamax is more balanced than VGC. Case in point, if it's a 6v6 singles game and you are losing, or if they Dynamax against you, right? They only get 3 turns of that. You have 6 Pokemon, which means you still have 3 left over, even if they KO all 3 of them. There's an ability to come back in a 6v6. 3v3 singles, Dynamax is busted. But 6v6 singles, I think there's still potential to come back. And all you need in singles, in a 6v6 singles or 3v3 singles game, is a Protectmon, like Protection. And they've wasted more than half they wasted 66% of their Dynamax turns. Technically, they've wasted all 3 of their Dynamax turns if you send out the Mon, Protect on the first turn of Dynamax, Soak and attack, don't die because you have to have something bulky, and then Protect again. And they wasted all 3 of their Dynamax turns just because you had a Protect Mon, you know? Yeah, Dynamax is not balanced in 3v3, but it's balanced in 6v6. Actually, I'm not going to say it's balanced. It's manageable, but not balanced. It's still busted as fuck. Getting top 1k with legit Mons was an achievement for me. I believe that anyone can get top cut. Like, anyone can get the top 1,000 Master Ball. It's definitely something that's, I'm not going to say it's easy. I'm going to say it's something that anyone can do. But, yeah. Alternatives Dynamax that we could see in the future. I kind of like the gimmick. No. It doubled your HP. It made you immune to flinching, immune to like a million different little things like Encore and stuff like that. Immune to like weight-based moves and stuff like that. And then you get to use Z-Crystal boosted moves that can like change terrain, change the weather and all those things, while also boosting your stats of you and your teammates for 3 turns in a row. No. Alright, I'm just letting you know, like, Z-Crystals were broken. If any of those Z-Crystals did what they did, by the way, like, you could protect against them and they'd be gone. If like, let's say when you used freaking Hydro Vortex, if Hydro Vortex set the weather, poof, like, what the fuck? That'd be the most broken thing ever. Just think about it. If anyone played in like Ultra Sun and Moon, imagine if Hydro Vortex set the weather to rain. That game would have been stupid broken. Imagine if, All Out Pummeling gave you and your team an attack boost. The game would not, and that's only 1 turn. You get 3 turns of it with Dynamax in this game. Imagine just 1 turn, a crumb of the effectiveness of Dynamax in a Z-Crystal, which took your held item slot. So Z-Crystals didn't double your HP, didn't make you immune to Fake Out. They took your item slot, and they only worked for 1 turn, and they were still broken. When are the rules for Series 11 to be released? I wouldn't be surprised if they came out mid-October. And this is what my hope is, that they change the rules for Series 11, or that they announce the rules for Series 11 in October. And what I really hope for, right, is that these rules they're announcing in October, back in June, TPCi made a post saying like, we'll update this page in October, I think. I hope that they're announcing a 2022 rule set that will go into effect on like January 1st. That will give people the amount of time to relax and like play Sword and Shield, play Diamond and Pearl remakes for a couple months, maybe even go into playing the Arceus. But like, I want regionals to come back, and I would love like a dedicated regional like tournament bracket, you know, for travel and stuff like that. I would like that. And you know what? I would play Dynamax if they were to bring back regionals. So if they announce 2020, 22 or whatever rules and we get those set up, I would be fine with like the next like 4 months of ranked sucking. Yeah. That's my hope. Because I remember going to the TPCi page, they updated it and said like, we'll announce back in October. How do Pokemon tournaments pay in comparison to other games? I heard it's pretty low relatively, and that's crazy considering Pokemon is a billion-dollar company. It's actually a lot higher than you think. Pokemon tournaments pay so much more than you think. I want you to think of some games. If Pokemon tournaments came back in 2022, they would have to announce a rule set for the year. Not necessarily, because like 2020 didn't have that. They announced their 2020 rule set and then changed it by the series. Every like 3 series they changed it. So if it was like past years, they usually announced them in October, and they would again go into effect on January 1st, and they'd be active for the whole year up until October. But you know, it doesn't have to be the case because now the games can be updated. But anyways, as far as like VGC regionals getting pay, they pay really well. Actually. They pay like really well. The high end isn't there. So like winning worlds doesn't get you a lot. Winning a regional doesn't get you like the, you know, $1 million, you know, payout like you might get from like Fortnite or any other like a League of Legends or whatever game. But let's just take example, Evo, right? You guys know Evo Evolution? When you win like the fighting game tournaments, any like fighting game tournament, Pokemon, like a regular regional, pays out way more than like than Evo, right? So if you get top 16 at like a Pokemon regional, or even top 32 at like an international that has like a lot of people, you're gonna be getting more money than like an Evo top 16 would. You're probably gonna be getting more money than an Evo top 8 would for like Super Smash Bros. Melee or Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. And so just think about it, like in terms of like, so like you have your Tier 1 esports, like your Dota 2s in terms of payouts, like your CSGOs, your League of Legends. Those are the ones that have like the Fortnite, I guess, has like the big prize pools. But like Pokemon's a lot higher than a lot of the other ones. Like, so like internationals, regionals, worlds, those all pay pretty well for like the general player pool. I think if you win like, you know, it's like it goes, regionals I think are like 2.5 to 5K depending on how many people are there, but like 2,500, and then like, you know, second place would get like 1,500, and then it goes down to like 500 and 250. So like a top 16 would get like 250, and like that's not even bad. Like 250 is actually more than like a lot of other tournaments play for like a top 8 or even a top 4. But I will say that you cannot, you know, you cannot make a living off of only tournament placings unless you're like James Beck. I think James Beck's like the only player, maybe Ashton Cox, who could say they made like a living off of Pokemon just from their tournament placings. Now, the way that Pokemon players are able to make money though is from stipends or whatever those things are called. So basically, if you're in like the top 8 of CP for your region, you get free travel to all of these tournaments. Like they pay you handsomely, usually much more than you need to book your travel to all these international tournaments. So you get to go there, you get to make some bank while you're doing it. And, you know, if you go to all of them and you get basically paid to go to all of them, you in turn get more points than the people who can't leave their country to go to those events, which means you snowball in effect and are able to, you know, monopolize all of the points so you can then get more money forever, right? That's how it usually goes. So you may think that like there's not a lot of money in Pokemon, but there's a lot more money in like the infrastructure for like the stipend system, because that's through like masters, juniors, and seniors. Like there's a lot of money in there, it's a lot of money, but that's a lot of work, you know. That's a lot of work to even, because you can't just have like one good season and just you really can't just have one good season without taking a massive hit in your own pocket, because you'd have to basically pay your way to go to all the internationals and probably like 6, 7, maybe upwards of like probably like 6 or 7 regionals. That's like 4 international flights and board, and like 7 or 8 regionals, like just like normal travel. That's thousands and thousands of dollars. Yeah, for me, like I've always just kind of, I'm the type of player that instead of wanting to go to like every single regional, or instead of wanting to go to all the internationals and all the worlds and all that, everything like that, I'm the person that I really want to focus on maybe 2 or 3 regionals a season and have a team that I really, really like. I'll go to as many local events as I can. We don't really get that many in NorCal, which is kind of weird. It's because we have to share the TOs with SoCal. And so SoCal has like most of the TOs, they get most of the events. But, I'll go to like one NorCal regional. I'll go to like a regional in like somewhere on the West Coast in like Portland or Seattle. I used to go to Arizona back when they had it. They don't have those anymore. So, I would go to like Texas, or I would go to SoCal regionals, or I would go to like Utah or something like that. I don't normally go to like the East Coast unless there's like a really big reason. But that's how I like to do it. And, I'm so fortunate that I have all my regional top cuts. Like, oh man, this is a little bit off topic, but I've said a lot recently that like, Moxie Boosted's doing a great job. I think Moxie Boosted is exactly what like the VGC community needed to like keep going. He's the perfect like fusion of like, blunder, pokey aim, like singles, like hype beast energy that like the VGC community needed an injection of. And I just feel so bad because people like clown on him all the time for not having results, but it's not even his fault. Like there hasn't been events in like so long, and the thing is he's won. I think he's at least won a Premier Challenge, maybe even a mid-season. But he's top cut so many of those events that like he's definitely good enough. Like I would say Moxie Boosted's probably better than me, and I mean I'm sure he is now at least because he keeps playing. He makes some really cool teams, and yeah, it just sucks because people are like, this guy doesn't know what he's talking about. He hasn't even top cut regionals or like won this event or won that. And it's like, bro, I know people would clown on me even more, but like I have my top cuts. I've top cut like three regionals. I've won mid seasons. I've won Premier Challenges, and I'm just lucky that I got that back when it was easy. Not necessarily easy, but the player base has come a long way. It used to be you would use something weird and you'd be able to trick everybody. And now everyone's been around the block, seen everything, Yep, like draft leagues. Yeah, I saw the same thing. They're like, he sucks at draft league. It's like, he's literally making content, guys. I don't think you understand how content works. What does top cut mean? At the risk of sounding like a noob. So if you go to a tournament, there's going to be like 500 to 1,000 people. Top cut is placing in like the money. So placing in like the money or, the CP. So you're getting like top 8 out of like 500 to 1,000 people. So that's top cut. And usually when people want to go to events, that's usually what they're shooting for. A lot of people don't really go events saying, I'm going to win. And they go to an event and, place in the standings. Yeah. There's so many cute mythicals. Jirachi, Victini, Shaman, Selby, Marshadow, Mew, Manaphy, Fio, and Keldeo. Yes, all good ones. Yeah, like, Moxie Boost is really good. And he's a gem that a lot of people take for granted. Like, if he stopped making content, there'd be heavy repercussions. Because he's kind of like he picked up the slack for like 90% of like the people that don't upload frequently. So like people, I haven't really seen recommendations for Osiris because like for some reason YouTube's just not showing me to him. I am subscribed to him, but yeah, people like I don't know if Osiris is uploading. I know James hasn't been uploading, and so Moxie has picked up that slack and gotten a really good upload schedule going to where like a lot of people watch his content. It's good content. Real ones keep uploading when the hype has died down and the game has been out for years. Well, the thing is, it's like, I'm going to keep making content, but I'll make singles content. I'm a singles player. I'm thinking, like, what I'm really thinking about doing is if they bring back Dynamax and I don't like the format, I'm probably going to go relaunch an old series of mine where I show you guys how to make a singles team. And you can take this for VGC as well if you want. But you make the singles team, like, from scratch for a tier. I used to have a series almost 10 years ago now called like Pokemon Showdown, the complete tutorial. A lot of those videos have been like taken down on YouTube because I used to use like old music. Then you can't do that obviously, but I didn't know that. Anyways, because I used to do them with music. But basically, what I would do is I would open up usage stats, and I would say like, these are the really popular Pokemon, and I would theory craft ways like live on stream to use different anti-meta picks to like pick holes. I would find different commonalities between like the top things and find weird mons that were lower tiers than the Pokemon that for the current tier that we were building in to pick them apart. For example, like I would use a ton of like Jinx and like OU and UU. I would use a ton of like Minchino or Chinchino, whatever that thing is, even in the higher tiers, because it had a really unique speed tier and good type coverage to cover mons that were better than like higher tier stuff, right? And, I would show you guys. And so basically I would take a fresh account and I would grind that account to like top 10 in a current tier. So I would start in the lowest tier. I started in like PU, I would go to NU, I would go to RU, I go to UU. I think I did it for OU. I didn't get Ubers, but like we did all of them. I got top 10 in like all of the things from like from scratch like account. And I would show you guys, I would take a look at all the usage stats and break it down. And like the first video would be like an hour's worth of me analyzing the tier to show you guys what's popular and why it's popular and like watching games. And then like it would be like a 10-part series. So we'd have like 10 parts of like UU, 10 parts of RU over the course of like 10 hours or something, like on stream of me just grinding the ladder games out. And all of it is like super degenerate shit. I'm not playing standard in any of these. I'm using like teams with like 5 focus sashes because you can do that in singles. Like that's not against the rules. But it's fun. It's fun. It's good stuff. Those are still great videos. And I would do that stuff again. I would definitely go back and do content like that.